Efecto Cascada.
Un podcast de Explore.
Dear Splotters, welcome once again to Efecto Cascada. This is a podcast from Splotter where we dive into the forefront of innovation, share insights from entrepreneurs, and uncover cascade funding opportunities. As you may all know already, in each episode we try to explore the latest trends in the digital stream, the arts, and transformative technologies that are shaping our future. So broadcasting from Pamplona, Spain, we strive to reach a global audience starting from European Union projects. All right, so today, even though I'm recording this introduction from our headquarters in Spain, we're throwing it back to November when we had the chance to go to all the way Helsinki, Finland, and record this program live from SLUSH Helsinki 2024 edition. Isn't that crazy? I know. Joining us, there's three creative visionaries. These are Karoliina Pärnänen. She's the art director of SLUSH. She's a new media artist. And she's also a DJ performer herself. So check it out. Then there's Nuno Leiria with us. He's the creator of Nilo. This is a platform that uses AI to generate code. Think of it same as when you type those prompts onto ChatGPT, but this time to, generate 3D art for video games. And last but not least, there's Campbell. She's the co-founder of NFT ART ROOM and Wonderland Immersive Museum. So stay with me and dive onto the amazing intersection between art, technology, and immersive experiences. All right, Splotters, so welcome once again to Efecto Cascada. Today we're here with Karoliina Pärnänen.
Hello.
And it's great to have her in SLUSH. And Karoliina is basically a talented designer and new media artist with passion for creative computing, world building, and immersive storytelling. But she's not just that. She's actually she embraces her creativity through DJing as well. But without further ado, let's get started. So how are you, Karoliina?
I'm very good, very much enjoying SLUSH. It's always so great to be here and seeing so many creative minds, whether it's entrepreneurship or the creative industry. It's such a high energy environment. So I really enjoy being in places like this.
Yeah, totally agree. You never know who can you meet next, right?
Yes.
So could you introduce yourself a bit to the audience and maybe share a bit about your background?
Yes. So indeed, my name is Karoliina Pärnänen and I'm currently the art director of SLUSH. And I've been doing this now for 2 years and it's been super fantastic. And it's a place where I can really work with so many creative minds and really put this big vision together. You come up with an idea and then it gets such big motors behind it that it really feels you can do so much more when you work in a community of people.
Could you share with us how did your passion with new media art and creative computing just appear?
I would say that I inherited the tech gene from my dad. He's a big tech enthusiast. He worked for a paper machine company, but in his spare time, he was always fiddling around with computers at home.
Okay.
So my very early childhood memories are from the very early PC computer games, and it always felt super magical to me that you just enter a prompt and then the whole world opens up between in this black box. So I think that was the very beginning. And then I really got to deepen that in my studies in the Netherlands. And luckily we had a program that was super broad and very artistic. And they also taught us interactive media design and also coding. And then I was very fascinated by 3D and also the game platforms. So then I started exploring those programs by myself. And I think I just realized hey, actually I love this. I'm actually good at this. Because I think especially for many females, we're not really encouraged to go into technology or go into coding. And then when I was kind of forced to do it, I realized actually this is my thing and I can do it.
All right, Karoliina, regarding 3D art and graphic design, your work spans from 3D modeling to graphic design. Could you tell us about a recent project that you've been working with?
Yeah. I would say the first one that comes to mind is the event launch film of SLUSH that we did this year. And it's always such a fantastic chance to work with very, very like high-end professional people. So it's a luxury that we can pretty much collaborate with almost anyone, since SLUSH has a very good brand in Helsinki. So then I got to work with one of my favorite 3D artists from Finland called Oskar Böckerman. And then it was very exciting to me that we went to do this volumetric capture. So it means that you go into this cage of like cameras, and then they capture you as a 3D character in real time.
Right.
So we hired some models and dancers to do a performance within this cage, and then these characters could be transported into the imaginative 3D world.
Wow.
And I'm actually one of those models. So when you see the event launch film like around the area, one of those silhouettes is me.
But it's crazy that you keep working for SLUSH for another year, and also merging just graphic design, 3D art, and technology itself. I guess you could say you are one of the pioneers of the new media arts.
I would say so. Like, it's perfect to work here because SLUSH is the forefront of tech. And if you are into arts and tech, and being the art director here, it's the perfect place to really do the like cutting edge innovations in art and tech and how to combine those together. So that's super inspiring.
Yeah. And by the way, could you share with us, do you have any creative process before starting a new project, or like a routine?
I think it really starts from like, I'm very intuitive, and I feel like that's the most important thing, that you're very connected to your intuition in a way, even if that sounds a bit like woo-woo. But for me, I realized that like when I feel that I intuitively feel that this is going in the right direction and something is moving in me, then I know this will touch the audience as well, because I've tried it so many times, and every time I have this feeling, it just always delivers. And if I don't feel right inside when I'm doing something, then usually it doesn't resonate in the same way. And this is super like related to DJing, but also in the visual arts. Like, I feel they're funnily very connected in a way. So it's all the kind of like same Karoliina world that I'm like putting out there, but it can take many different forms and many different mediums. So it doesn't matter whether it's like music or visual arts. Yeah, that's what I really learned in art school, that like in this field, you're really like competing only against yourself. So if you start comparing yourself to others, like you're only gonna take detours, and you can only make authentic work if you're really feeling something yourself. And I feel that's all you can do as a human being, is to like follow your calling if you have a connection to that. So
how do you see the future technologies in, let's say, 3D world and graphic arts evolving in the next 5 years? What do you think?
I'm super enthusiastic for VR. I know that it's been like coming a long time, and it hasn't really like broken through yet.
Yeah.
But I personally believe that's going to be the next big thing that's going to become more like widespread in the world. Like, once the glasses become more elegant and like easy to carry. I just had a chance to try the Apple Vision Pro. And I mean, I'm not sponsored by Apple. I'm just saying this is an authentic comment. But the user interface is starting to be so smooth that even like just for ergonomics, imagine if you can do your work with your body like this in space rather than being hunched over a laptop. So I think that's super exciting, especially for like 3D art, that I can be sculpting in the like digital sphere, almost like as a traditional sculptor. But yeah, I think that's super inspiring. And then also for the storytelling aspect, that you can actually be immersed in the world fully, instead of like looking at a screen. So
yeah, honestly, I think that's gonna come sooner than we think.
I think so too.
Technology is evolving just really fast pace.
Yeah.
And, well, you were talking about VR. Now we're focusing just on the visual part, but I'm sure the rest of the senses will somehow consider as well, right?
I'm sure, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk DJing.
Yes.
Please tell us a bit, how come are you also at the end? Do you have time to do so with all your creative tasks?
I do my best to have time. Like, sometimes it's a struggle because I have so many passions. So sometimes I work during the weeks and then I DJ on the weekends. But I try to keep a good work-life balance nevertheless. And yeah, my DJing journey started as it starts for most people. Like it was first a hobby, and a friend of mine was telling me that I should really try it because he said like you always put the like best tracks in the parties, and I was always the one like, can I get the aux cable? Like I want to put this one track. So then we got this like very shitty controller for 80 euros secondhand, and we started playing around with it. And in the end, I fell in love with it so much that I ended up like buying the controller completely for myself. And then I was kind of like a personal bedroom DJ for the first like 2 or 3 years. But I never had like a filter of putting stuff out. So I instantly started uploading things to SoundCloud. And then funnily enough, I started gathering a relatively big following in SoundCloud.
No way.
And yeah, and suddenly like I had like kind of fans from like all over the world, but I wasn't really performing live anywhere. And I never had a single gig in Finland. And then when I had been doing that for like 4 years, then suddenly I got a message from the booker of like Flow Festival, which is like this big festival in Helsinki.
Okay.
And at the same summer from Cosmos Festival, which is another big festival in Finland. Girl, now it's your time to go on stage. And I was so overwhelmingly happy that I couldn't believe that like I felt like a nobody in a way, but then like somehow these people saw that there's something there.
You're playing at this SLUSH after party.
Yes.
That's crazy. So
I'm so excited. Yeah, and the stage is so hype, and there's going to be this art installation company from Hong Kong who's doing interactive VJing as well.
Wow.
So it's going to be like a volcanic eruption, and with the smoke circle like surrounding a stage, it's like the boiler room or something with the 360 audience.
Oh God.
So I think it's the coolest stage I've ever played at. So I'm very much looking forward to tonight.
All right, Karoliina, so we've reached the last section of the episode.
Yes.
And here's the game. So first you're going to have to answer a question from the previous guests. And then you'll have the power in your hands, and so you can throw it to the next one.
Okay, nice.
So you ready?
Yes.
All right, so your question comes from Juri Kahonen. So he's the CEO of Mindband. And he said, if you could recommend a book that described your job, which one would it be?
That described my job. It's not too hard, but I have to think for a little bit. One book that I really felt inspired by was Politics of Design by Ruben Pater. So I really enjoyed it because it goes into the more, well, the political level of design, that like we're just not only making pretty things, but actually everything that you put out in the world, it is political in some ways. So it was just diving very deep into the history of all kinds of different design systems and how those have been influenced by different cultures, and how in this like global world we have all these different systems merging together, and what do they mean. So I just always like to keep things in mind when I do stuff that like this is not only visual, but like everything is culture, everything is arts. In a way, everything is politics, even though I wouldn't say I'm necessarily political per se. But yeah, that was a very good book. Yeah.
Honestly, do you think that could apply to any other sort of art? Or
I think
get
so.
influenced by it?
Yeah, because when you think about like postmodernism or modernism or Renaissance, like it was all an image of an era in a way. And now we're in this like new, I don't know, some kind of an inflection point, because we're so past like postmodernism as well, but it's almost like in this like hyper global world, we're having a difficult time of like defining these isms anymore, that it's all mashed up into this one big thing. And I guess only in 100 years we know what to call it.
Yeah.
So I think this spans whether you work as a, I don't know, a founder or an investor or a creative, we are all within our culture. And I do feel that creatives, like, even though it's a cliche, but I do feel you're like a vessel that receives a need to do something from the universe in a way. And
Law of attraction there.
yeah, and like people often come up with ideas simultaneously around the world. So I feel like this is not
There's
a
like
coincidence.
quantum theories.
Yes, yeah. So I love that idea.
Oh my God, Karoliina, we could speak for ages.
I know, it's
Everything
such like
is so
interesting topics. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, definitely I agree. Like there's always a matrix.
Yeah.
And there's either in design, there's aesthetics, and then I don't know if you know, but for music, there's this page where you can zoom in and you can see all sorts of genres throughout
I know
music
it.
history.
I've been
It's
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
love that website.
So do you have any question for the next guest?
Yeah, I came up with quite a generic one, but I feel it always gives good answers. So I just want to know what was your biggest learning in the past year? So that's the one
That's
for the
nice.
next person. Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll see
Yeah.
what he or she has
Yeah.
in their hand. All right, and do you have any fun facts that you'd like to share with us?
Maybe a fun fact is that like I come from such a small town that it's actually like wiped from the map of Finland already because it merged into a
way.
bigger one. So actually I come from a place that doesn't exist anymore. So the like city in my
real?
passport is not really a city anymore. So
So we cannot find it in the map.
you can find it, but it's not officially a city anymore. It's just a part of a bigger city. Yeah.
And it's your family still living there?
No, they moved into Eastern Helsinki. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
crazy. All right, Karoliina, so thank you very much for your time. It was
Thank you so
great
much.
to learn so much insights from you.
Yes.
And well, you're always welcome to come back if you want, even online or whatever. But yeah, it was great talking to you.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, Explorers, so welcome once again to Efecto Cascada. Today I'm joined here by Nuno Leiria. And well, it's a great pleasure to have you here. So hello, how
Pleasure
are
is
you?
mine. Very good, thank you.
I'm fine, right. Okay, so Nuno, he's the founder and CEO of Nilo, a groundbreaking platform that's changing the game development landscape. So Nilo leverages AI to generate code and 3D in seconds, making game creation faster and more collaborative, right? So without further ado, let's get started. All right, Nuno, so can you introduce yourself a bit to the audience and maybe share a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Nuno, I'm from Lisbon originally, and I actually live in Valencia, Spain right now. Since I was 12, I always wanted to be a game developer, and so that's been my path. I've worked at companies like Lionhead, working on Fable, at Piranha Bytes, working on Reason and LX, and also more recently on Fortnite and Unreal Engine 5, which some people might have heard of. And I've also been in startups, so a cloud gaming startup called Polystream, and more recently I've created my own startup called Nilo, which is working on a new game creation platform using generative AI to make content and codes more easier to create, just in a few seconds instead of minutes or
That's
days.
crazy. It's almost like a chat GPT, but for games, right?
You can think of it like that.
Okay, and well, you've worked on many innovative projects, as you were saying, but Nilo seems to be a game changer. So if you'd like to give more details on it.
Yeah, of course. So Nilo is a platform that works in the browser, and so you can just access it by sharing a link. Because typically other platforms you would have to download and install, and then you have to find art or learn how to code, and then you need to learn how to use those platforms, right? So it's a little bit more challenging. So Nilo is more accessible, where you just go to the browser, put Nilo's link there, and then just start typing, and you say, I would like a house. And then a few seconds later, a house appears.
That's crazy.
Then you can also speak. For example, I would like, this object to move or to jump, and then it does. It generates the code for you, right?
Wow.
And then you can just share a link to someone else, and someone else will appear in the world with you, and you will feel a sense of presence. And then they also have those same powers as you do. Say they can also generate objects and make them move. So now you're collaborating in the world together, right? Fully.
How old is the startup already?
The startup is 7 months old, and the first line of code was created 4 months ago.
Right.
So it's very early in the journey, but very
So
happy
it's
with
been
the progress.
It's been a rough year for you, I imagine.
Well, yeah, it's been a lot, but it's also very joyous. It doesn't need to be like very rough. It's just like we're doing a lot of hard things and we're doing them very fast, but it's also so empowering to see people being able to create things that it gives us even more incentive to continue going and to ship faster.
Understood. And Nuno, what actually inspired you to just leave your professional career and center yourself on creating Nilo?
Yeah.
Was it a specific momentum or idea that you just had?
So there's something that I've been thinking about for a few years, because if you work on, especially on the engine side, like I've always been creating game engines rather than games themselves, although I've worked in games too, but game engines are what I'm passionate about. And in my career, I've seen that it's sometimes difficult to see your change, like changes that you've made to the game, they may take many, many minutes to see when you make a code change. And then especially if you have a big game like Fortnite, it might take, dozens of minutes to see a change, and then it runs on like 7 to 10 different platforms. And so your change needs to take that long across those platforms. And I'm like, does it need to be that way? Can't I just see the changes immediately? And can't I bring that to other people so that they can have that same feedback loop very quickly?
Do you think you can share with the audience where can we follow you or social media and so on, so that we can stay aware and try those first?
Of course. So you can go to nilo.xyz and you can request early access, and I will personally welcome you into trying Nilo and then to join Nilo's community on this.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Nuno. Looking ahead, AI nowadays, as we all know, is playing an increasingly prominent role in many industries. How do you see new technologies in the digital stream, and more specifically in gaming, evolving in the next 5 years, for example?
Especially now with AI trying to project 5 years ahead, it's extremely challenging. It's the same thing as it happened when the internet came along. Like, who would ever predict Uber, for example? So the only thing that I would be able to say is that almost all of the fields that are now under game development, actually across the world, they're all going to change. The same way that there were changes when the internet came along, almost all businesses changed. Right. And so the same thing is going to happen now with generative AI. And so different fields across game development, you can already see that that's happening. It could be graphics, it could be animation. Right now, you can create an animation in a few minutes, whereas you would have to take days for an specialized person to create them. Now anyone can do it. Similar thing with 3D model generation. Like Nilo is able to create models at very good quality in 15 seconds. Same thing with codes, storytelling, concept art. All fields are now being changed, and the way that people work also needs to change. For example, when digital content creation became digital, instead of you having to draw with a pencil, now you could, for example, use Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, you have to adapt to those new technologies, right? And the same thing is true now with AI. There's also going to change the kind of skills that people need, and perhaps they will become more editors rather than creators, because maybe the AI is so quick at creating things that now you say, no, not like this, like that.
That's right.
All of those changes now, we need to adapt to them.
All right. Do you think you have any advice for game developers that would like to get into the industry and perhaps be entrepreneurs as well someday?
So the first thing I would say is actually that I love this quote that all advice cancels out to zero. So what it means is that I can give you some advice in one context to do one thing, and in another context, I will give you exactly the opposite advice.
Oh.
Right? And it's actually the right advice for that context, And so what that means is that it cancels out to zero if you don't have the context in mind. So my advice is always be very careful with advice like this, where it's very general. It's actually, does it apply to you? Is it true? Right? And does it apply to you in this moment in time? With that said, I understand that that's not very helpful. And so something that I might say is, for me, what helped me was to always have a vision for the long term and not to think so much about the short term, right? So I've been thinking about creating Nilo for many, many years, and it has changed in shape as the time has passed, right? A few years ago, I could not have created this platform that uses generative AI because it didn't exist back then. But I was already preparing to have a company. So I was already studying, I was speaking with other founders, right? I was thinking very long term. And that's something that I would encourage, is to give yourself the time now to prepare to do those things that you want to do in the future, in the very long term, and don't bias in the short term.
Right. Yeah, I was a bit shocked because I've never thought of that, but I think it's also strictly related to mental health. Because sometimes when we think on the long term and our life goals, we tend to have some anxiety, and so maybe we're comparing ourselves to someone else, but each one has their own path, and they should follow their dreams, right?
Absolutely true. There's something that I like to keep in mind, which is if I compare myself with someone else, then I need to keep in mind that I cannot just take one part of them or what they've done or something into me, because if they achieved something or have done something, it's because they traded off something else to get it. Like if someone is very successful in business, maybe their social life has been sacrificed, right? And so one thing I need to keep in mind is I cannot just say, oh, I really want one thing from that person and comparing myself. No, I need to compare against the whole person. So now the thought is, would I like to exchange my life for theirs? And if that's not true, then don't need to compare. Just compare yourself against who you were in the past, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing better? Am I learning more today than I was before? Who am I? Am I a better person? And so that's a better benchmark for me than to try and change lives with someone else because I really love my life.
Yeah, well, no, that's great advice. I mean, even though you're not a lot into advices, you gave lots of great tips. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right, so we've reached the last section of the episode. And now here's the game. So I'm going to ask you a question from the previous guest.
Sure.
And then you'll be the one with the power in your hands. So you can pass the ball on to the next one.
All right, let's do it.
So here's your question. You ready?
Bring it on.
Okay, so your question comes from Dave Minogue from Adventure Spheres. And so he said, what was the worst day in your life? And how did you overcome it?
Wow,
This is a hard one, right?
it's a hard one. So to try and think about what was the worst day of my life
Maybe
is going to
not
take a while. So I'm
life.
going to say what is the worst day that came to my mind just now.
Go ahead.
Okay? And that was actually when I was trying to bring Nilo up and raise my first angel round of funding. And I was speaking with a well-known investor in the game space, and we've been talking for a while. And I was like, oh, if they are interested, and this maybe makes a lot of sense. And I was putting a lot of faith into that investment coming along. And bear in mind, I had just decided to become a founder, which was a very big decision because I'm like, oh, is this the right time? Is it not? I don't know. And I had just decided that. And then I'm speaking with them, and I'm like, oh, maybe this really goes through if the investment goes through. And we've been speaking for a month, and so conversations are going along. I think this is going to go well. And eventually they say no.
Oh,
At that same day, a relationship that I've had for some time also didn't work on the same day, right?
Wow.
So that was not one of the best times. But one of the things I did was I took the next day and the next day to really fully feel the feelings, to really take the time to go, okay, like not try to do anything about it, not try to distract myself. It's like, no, this is what it is. Let's face reality as it is and not how as I would wish it to be. And the next day I really said, okay, this happened. And how am I going to turn the situation into an even better outcome? Like, if these investors wanted to invest X at a Y valuation, how do I get even more money for less valuation? Like, how do I now make myself into, how do I turn into the things that I know work for me, like my positive habits, so that, I can have even better relationships around me. They don't need to be romantic relationships. They can be friendships or anything, right?
Yeah.
And so very shortly after, I think 1 month later, I had an investment that was very meaningful for me. I got exactly what I wanted, a higher valuation.
That's
And,
crazy.
and then I had another person that I was in a romantic relationship with at the time. And so things turned out for the better. But I think it needed some time for me to fully process what had happened and then have the mindset that things are going to become better if I actually do something about it.
Thank you very much for sharing this story. Honestly, like it felt, I felt it a lot. No, but I think it's true. Like, there's this saying. At least my grandma says it. It's when one door closes, another opens, right? So in this case, when you're literally on the day that everything happens, everything is like raining cats and dogs, and
Exactly.
you do not have a positive mindset.
Exactly.
Wow, thank you. Okay, so what's your question for the next guest?
My question would be, how are you making the next generation better? How are you contributing to help the next generation that comes after you?
All right, let's see what he or she has in mind
Exactly.
for that. Okay, Nuno, and do you have any fun fact that you'd like to share with the audience?
Fun facts. Well, something that people don't know as much about me is that I really like music festivals. So a fun fact is that I've been to 10 years in a row to the Tomorrowland, the festival in Belgium.
Yeah, so you're a huge fan of techno, I bet.
Not just techno, electronic music in general. Can be
General.
deep house. Yeah, I really like it.
Honestly, when you talked about meditation, I thought you were more into like
That's why it's a fun fact.
jazz or something like that. Yeah, that makes you a complex person.
Very much so.
Okay, no. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us and well taking this opportunity as well. It was great chatting with you and getting to know all the details about Nilo. And well, you're always invited to come back to Efecto Cascada if you ever wish. So thank you.
Thank you, Paula. It's been a pleasure.
All right, explorers, so welcome once again to Efecto Cascada. Today I'm joined here by Anna Campbell. So hello, Anna.
Hi, how are you?
We're fine. We are here in SLUSH Helsinki 2024 edition. So how's the event going so far?
It's
for you?
amazing. It's so crowded, so busy, and we've got a new opportunity for our project.
That's great.
Thank you, Slush.
Great news to
Yes.
hear. All right, so let me introduce Anna to all of you. So Anna is basically an art curator and co-founder of NFT ART ROOM and Wonderland Immersive Art Museum. So based in between Italy and Finland, Anna is leading the way in merging traditional art with innovative technology, like for example NFTs and VR. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, Anna, so do you think you could introduce yourself a bit to the audience?
Yeah, sure. I came to art about 15 years ago, to art industry, and I have been curating art exhibition around the world. So basically, I work from artist studio to art fairs. And last 3 years, we turned to NFT art. And I'm the first art curator who brought NFT art project to Dubai, to blockchain. So basically for me as a art curator, it's a great opportunity to use NFT as a tools. And in these days, we use NFT as a tools for our museum because we are using blockchain ticketing, which is safe and control under
Right.
controlling. So, well, 3 years ago we started our project NFT Art Room, NFT Art Generation, and we are the first who is organized big art fair, NFT art fair, in digital art fair in South Italy. Yes. So. Our gallery located in Artigian historical part of Syracuse, and basically like all Sicily and everybody in Sicily know about NFT because of us.
Wow, that's a great achievement.
Yes, and we
Congratulations.
supported by government. We organized a few big shows in Taormina and Artice and different museums. And this year we are looking for museum status. So we brought to SLUSH Wonderland Immersive Museum.
Yeah. So, where can we tell our audience to check Wonderland Immersive Museum out? Do you have any social media or platform?
Yes, of course. We have a social media. We are very active. Part of our team, she lives in London, and she is. We are very active, so you can find us on Instagram. We have web page, and
We will. And I'm curious for you, being an art curator, what made you click onto NFTs and this immersive art experience?
well, NFT it's just a tools, right? It was before NFT we have just digital files, which is basically always been digital art, but these days we're using NFT to protect art, right?
Okay.
It's kind of a digital certificate, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's more on the legal side
Yes.
to protect the arts. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter in
Yes.
this case if it's something like a painting or like a song, right?
Yes. Sure.
Okay. And Anna, on your career highlights,
Yeah.
you've had an impressive career working in both the physical and digital art.
Yeah.
How have these two areas intersected in your world?
Sorry.
How have these two areas of physical arts and now digital tools
Well,
intersected?
even when we showcasing NFT art, we also showcasing physical art as well. So in our
Okay.
gallery, we have some physical art as well, and some physical art NFTs because of we want to show how artists can use these tools for themselves, and it's easy to move from exhibition to exhibition. Now we don't need to bring to shipping all huge artwork. We can just
Right.
send the digital files. For example, we can be at the different place with the same artwork. Like last year, we exhibit in NFT Paris. And the same time, we had exhibition in London blockchain.
Oh, wow.
So we just sent our digital file to London. I mean NFTs, and so it's easy.
You've been doing this for 6 months. Have you found any challenges that you've had to overcome?
No, no. Like in our project, almost ready. Like we already have everything settled down. We try two demo version already in Sicily and here yesterday at our side event. So now we're just searching for investors to finish the project.
Yeah. But for example, funding, searching for
Yeah,
funding,
fun-
you see that challenge right now.
Yes, yes.
Are you
Searching.
looking?
Yes, we are looking for
Okay, so make
Fi-
sure
five.
you can-
Yes, we are looking fundings to save the culture and open two museums. One museum we want to open in Copenhagen
Okay.
because it's a very promising foot traffic. 9 millions last year stay overnight and 27 millions visitors.
Wow.
Yes, it's like huge foot traffic. And as well, Napoli. Napoli, another our strategical point. And next, our point take to Las Vegas. Yes,
Wow, that's interesting.
yes, we have.
And are you somehow streaming these, how do you call it, exhibitions? Are you, once it's been brought to Las Vegas and
Yeah,
LA?
I explained. For example, we have two physical museums in Napoli and Copenhagen. And we make this immersive show, which we're showcasing in Napoli and Copenhagen as well. This is immersive show. It can have a touring around the world. We can take to Las Vegas, we can take to Toronto, we can take to UK. The same show. This is what I like about new technology.
Right.
You know, it can show in so many different cities at the same time.
And perhaps tomorrow in another world at the
Yes.
same time, right? Because this is just crazy. All right. Talking about innovation in art and technology, how do you see the blending of these physical art and digital worlds impacting other sorts of artists? Because I'm sure that in your sector, you've had to work with people that are not so open-minded when it comes to adapting to technology.
Yes, yes. This is what we try to change as well. We educate artists about the new technology. Sometimes we have like free of charge classes for artists, and we try explain about NFTs. Again, NFT not just yes, it's just tools and digital certificate.
And Anna, how do you see? Do you have an ultimate plan, or how do you envision the museum in, for example, the next 5 years?
Well, We have a plans, of course. First, our exhibition is going to be Alice in Wonderland. Next year, we have in mind take Fifth Element and do immersive show with Fifth Element. And inside our team, we have artist Giuseppe Piccione, and he is working with autistic more than 15 years. He is do art therapy. So we would like to include a kind of workshop for autistic and for disabled people. And as well, we want to we would like to work close with Art Academy and university to show young artists all possibilities. So, you know, museum status is status of art institution, and we are, of course, in the frame of art institution, we're going to work with educational and charity program. And of course, we want to help young artists to develop their art and to be strong enough to survive in this world. You know, so many artists struggling from different.
So it just has lots of use applications, way more than just exposing
Yes.
and art design, right? And well, for example, I'm thinking about like if I'm someone who's never seen the Gioconda or Mona Lisa ever before, perhaps in the future I'll be able to just see this painting from my house. Like,
Yeah, sure.
okay, Jana, and do you have any advice for aspiring creatives or also art curators looking to involve themselves into this world?
Yes, absolutely. I have advice start to use artificial intelligence in their artwork. Don't afraid. It's a good tools for artists. We already in the new era of art, new era of technology. So now we should integrate all this new technology inside art, and we should to talk in the contemporary language, art language as well. Artists have to talk exactly about this time. Then after 200 years, next generation look at their art and see, yes, this is 2024.
Wow, that's a very inspiring quote. And well, actually, there's a lot of controversy here, right? Because as we all know, well, ChatGPT can create drawings, paintings in terms of seconds, scenes as music. So many graphic designers are obviously mad with this. But I agree. I'd say just take this tool and bring it onto your own, well, creativity. Right?
Yes, for example, we have one NFT project inside our Immersive Art Museum. And this this project happened because of new technology. It's drawing of old artists. He has drawn this artist of Alice in Wonderland, 1975. In 1979, he got art awards for this drawing. And only because of new technology. Another young artist, he found old artists and they create project together, they create NFTs. And because of I searching around for new project, I found this NFT project and took it to our museum. So I love all this technology, I love NFT. And I think if we don't have NFT, we never have some new cool projects.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it. And it's great that you've been able to recover this mixture of arts and show it in your museum. All right, so we've reached the last section of the episode.
Okay.
And now here's the game. So you're going to have to answer.
Okay.
It's just a talking game. Don't worry, I'm not bringing anything to the table. There's a question for you from the previous guest.
Okay.
And then you'll have to answer.
Okay.
Well, sorry, raise a question for the next one. Okay. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So your question is, how do you think you're contributing with your work to the next generation, in this case of artists?
How we contributing?
You.
Myself.
Yeah, yourself.
Well,
with your
oh.
daily work.
Yes, this is my passion. I live with it. So, like, it's 24/7. We educate young artists, contributing. Yes, we are create for them new space. Is it enough contribution?
No, it is. It is for sure. It is a lot. And you've been explaining it throughout the whole
Yes.
episode. So, what's your question for the next one?
Okay, what do you think about AI art?
Okay, let's see. And then they'll have to check your episode.
Okay,
Because
great.
maybe that changes their mind. All right, Anna, and lastly, do you have any fun facts singular, about yourself that you'd like to share with the audience?
Fun. well, well, lots of fun, especially when you organizing exhibition and the main artwork stuck in the customs. So this is the real physical art. This is what I like about digital.
Custom.
Then you can, then you don't need to
No shipping.
no shipping.
Yeah. All right, Anna, so we've reached the end. So thank you very much for taking your time and share all about NFTs and the Immersive Wonderland Museum.
Thank you.
It was a great time to...
So thank you, and I hope we can fund our rest 4.5 million. We already have fund 500.
Okay, yeah, let's hope. So, well, thank you very much, explorers, for staying all the way until the end. And it was a great pleasure to be your host for today's episode. So, see you in the next one. Goodbye.
And this brings us to the end of this episode of Efecto Cascada. It's been a pleasure to have, the time and the opportunity to chat with these three creative visionaries, Karoliina, Anna, and Nuno. Thank you for, taking your time to show everyone, our audience, explorers, and the community of innovators, a spark of what the future of graphic arts and immersive experiences is awaiting. So remember that this podcast is available on all streaming platforms, starting from YouTube all the way to Spotify and Amazon Podcasts, because, this is also a video podcast, don't forget about it, so that you can see our faces, and it feels a bit more personal and closer. But yeah, remember to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any episode, streaming all Thursdays on our channel. So thank you all once again. Let's keep captivating the amazing world of innovation together, explorers. See you!